All right, now I should be live. Can everybody hear me? Oh, well, thank you, Unruly Simeon. Thank you. I guess that means people can hear me now. Oh, thankfully. I clicked. I've been sitting here for like 2 minutes talking, and I was like, the chat's not saying anything. How bizarre. And then I realized I'm not actually streaming. So I'm a total newbie and I suck. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? I hope so. I hope the room isn't too echoey. I usually have like this. I have a sound system, I guess you could say, and I can't really sit here under the sound system. It's also known as a comforter. I throw a comforter over myself to when I do the narration to get rid of all the room echo. But I can't do that now. So if there's a little echo, sorry. Mr. Parts. No, you can call me Alan. That's fine. Or Strange. I'm fine with Strange too. Heard in France, heard in England. I'm heard all around the world. Oh my goodness. I'm live. Me? I'm live too, oddly enough. Mr. Parts is good too. So, to repeat what I said while you couldn't hear me, is that my webcam is down. So, the little box that says live and broken webcam version, that was supposed to be my webcam right there. But it was not. And heard in Hawaii. Wow, cool. And Reno, Nevada. Is it Nevada? No, it's Nevada, right? I can't really hear you, so why am I even asking? But anyways, yeah, I tried out my webcam and it was just, it's like 10 years old, so it decided, I've had enough, man. I'm not going to work for you anymore. And I said, okay, fine. Garbage for you. Did you know that a storyline in Defenders? Yes, it was the Squadron Sinister, I think they were called, if I remember right. And that led to them Nevada. Okay, got it. Yeah, I think it was the Squadron Sinister, which was a play on the Justice League, a bad version of the Justice League, and then Mark Gruenwald then transformed it into Squadron Supreme. I think that's the sort of origin of that. And I really want to review Supreme Power by Straczynski, but it's so hard because it's, unfinished. So thank you, Inscrutable Al. Yeah, I'm saving up just so I can get and my, like I said, it was 10 years old. I think it was 720p, so it was crappy anyway. And the one in my computer, it's been dead forever, so. Well, thank you and welcome, and thank you, Afro. I'm glad you love my channel. If you didn't, it would kind of suck if you didn't. But, I can understand. Not everybody likes me. That's fair. Best funny animal comics? Sam and Max. You got to read Sam and Max. Do you like AWA Comics The Resistance? Never read it. Could not tell you. I have no opinion on it whatsoever. After the last video, I honestly wonder if Spider-Man fans are hostile towards Paul solely because they're still bitter about one more day. It's possible. I mean, the very few opinions I did see seemed to combine it all into like, well, I just hate this storyline. And Paul seemed to be the avatar of that. But, hey, that's just my opinion. I'm sure there's many others who disagree with me. Of course, the Canadian recommends Sam and Max. Of course. I mean, can you call The Tick a funny animal comic? Not really, but still. Is this an AI talking? Yes, it is. I was computer generated by Yo-Yo Dine and I was actually digitized. So I was a real person at one point, but I was digitized and I had to recite the entire dictionary. And then I passed away in 2015. So yeah, I am an AI. Thank you, Slav, for the 5. That's great. Thank you very much. Best copies of Miracle Man to get, and what are some great essays? The more well-known Batman comics. I have no opinion on great essays about Batman comics other than my own, which is limited to Dark Knight Returns. You might want to check out, Imperious Rex. I think they did a whole Bat year, and they covered a whole bunch of Bat titles. I believe it was Imperious Rex. Let's see. I'm trying to keep up with chat. I'm doing very terrible at it, as usual. Steve Rogers is Michaelia. Hey, Michaelia. I have a hard time pronouncing your name. I suck. I'm doing fine in the digital space. I could be doing better, of course. But, cranking out the content, trying to make people happy. So let's get to... Do I listen to any comic? I used to listen to Word Balloon all the time, but I haven't in years. And I know there's a few others of podcasts that I haven't had the chance. And since I've been doing my own thing, as I said, I've always been afraid of plagiarizing people. So I don't listen to as much as I should. In fact, I can't think of a podcast I've listened to in at least 3 years. And the last one was probably Word Balloon, because John Suntress is just, he's been around since like 2000, I think. Done tons of interviews. Mickey is fine. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Mickey. I like to think I do good work all the time, but I have to admit there's been a quality improvement lately, I think. In the last 5 months, once my computer got back on track and I upgraded a bunch of things, I think the quality has definitely improved. Yeah, and see, for John Suntress, I like his I like that he does a conversation. It's not an interview. And if I was ever to talk to comic book people, that's what I'd want to do. I'd just want to talk with them. I really wouldn't want to sit down and go, so, Amazing Spider-Man, when you did that, what were you thinking? And then just have a bunch of questions that I'd want to ask them. I'd rather just talk with them, get to know them, so to speak. Well, welcome, Foxhole Charlie. Thank you for the compliment. But we missed the theme song. Well, it might return. I have to change it up every now and again because I get bored, and I feel like I'm phoning it in. If I keep using the same thing over and over again, I'm like, I get that it's comforting. You get that little dee 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 at the beginning. That's comforting. But to me, it's like listening to my own voice. After a while, I just get so tired of hearing it. And I kind of hit that point with the little intro theme. I'm like, I just can't hear that on one more video. Until next time, I do that very randomly. So I know I have it slotted to come up again soon. More Hodorowski comics? Yeah, I'd like to do Meta Barons. There's so much Meta Baron stuff that I don't really think I have a good handle on it yet. Plus, that requires a good investment into a bunch of esoteric stuff. And, man, it's a time investment. Let's see. Grendel video. Oh, thank you. More Matt Wagner stuff. Will I cover more Matt Wagner stuff? Yes. I have another mage. I'm reworking it because I just don't like the old one. And I need to finish Grendel with Devil's Odyssey, the final series, which wraps it up, I guess. So yeah, there'll be more Matt Wagner. I'd like to maybe expand into his Demon series as well that he did back in, what I want to say, like 1990. It might have been like 88, around there. What else? Oh yeah, let me get to the title of this, the authority and age restricted crap. Get that out of my head so we can move forward. I still have no feedback whatsoever concerning why it was age restricted and demonetized. Now, demonetized I can deal with because I don't make a huge amount anyway from my videos. So me not making any video or any money off that video didn't really bother me. It's the age restriction, because that limits, who's going to see it. It has to be people who are over 18 and signed into their account. Not only that, but it stops recommending it. So like it was skyrocketing in views, and then nothing. Like it's maybe had, I think I looked and it had like maybe a couple thousand views over the last 3 weeks. So yikes. And not only that, it's not just that it hurt that one video. It hurts all my other videos as well. So any momentum I had is just completely gone. It's shot. And I know that for a fact because I've looked at videos since then, and they get recommended less. So, and specifically this current one, although I have to wait a few more days on it, but the one about Paul. That one, because it's very clickbaity, excuse me, because it is very clickbaity, I kind of expected it to perform a little better than it has so far. And I looked at its, analytics and stuff. And yeah, again, it's not getting recommended as much as it should, or at least what I think it should. Of course, the algorithm disagrees with me. So, yeah, Superboy Prime. The Authority one is my third most popular one, but it would have been easily my first most popular one. It was screaming up in views, and it totally shocked me. I have to admit, I never thought the Authority would do that well, and then all of a sudden, bang. It seemed to be like, oh, that's the one that's going to put you over the top. And then YouTube said, nope, you can't have that one. And I think the reason, what I suspect is, okay, it was live for 6 days without any problem. So I have to presume it was flagged. I thought I was supposed to be notified if it was flagged, but this one did not. And I know I've been flagged in the past. There's been other videos that have been flagged because someone disagrees with me, so they flag it. But there's, I can't think of any video that has anything objectionable in it. So Which video is number one right now? That would be the Max. 4 broken people and a bunny. I think that's over 200K views. Oh, thank you, Inscrutable Al. I'd like to think it's one of the best. I'd say one of the best. I'm not sure I have the ego to say it's the best, but I try hard. And I try hard in the sense that I don't settle for there's a certain level of quality I always want to maintain, and I think I'm doing that pretty good. I could do better though. So that's what I'm working on, doing better. And trying to engage with you guys more. I realized it's been like 3 months since my last live stream, which is, pretty terrible on me. So I think that kind of covers the authority bit, I think. Because it's the age, it's like I said, it's not the demonetization. I mean, it sucks. I mean, no one wants to lose money, but I would have dealt with it. It's the age restriction, because that's just a punishment. It's like literally a shadow ban. And man, no one likes to be shadow banned. And for no good reason, as far as I can tell. And the censored version is just me, that's pure spite. That's me going, I have no idea what was wrong with this, so I'm going to delete and blur everything. From one of, excuse me, I'm sorry. Sorry, I muted myself to clear my throat. Yeah, from what I've observed, it usually takes at least two days or a week at most for YouTube to suppress a video. Yeah, mine was on the 6-day mark. And it took 4 days for it to start to pick up steam. And then after 2 days of it gaining a ton of views, it's suddenly, boop, nothing. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it was going down. It had like 1,000 views per hour. And then as soon as the restriction kicked in, it went down to 2 or less an hour. So that tells you how big of a punishment there is when they age restrict your video. And it's barely gotten any views since then. So thanks for the feedback, YouTube. Yeah, there's no such thing as a shadow ban. Yeah, I'm living proof that that's not true. Too many feet pics in the video. Yeah, that was probably it. I thought it might be, the engineer's boobies. Maybe. That was my best guess. Someone else suggested it was some of the gore, which didn't even cross my mind that would be a thing. But maybe. I mean, literally, I have nothing but guesses. I have no feedback whatsoever. I'm in the dark. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. I'm going to take that as a life lesson, but man, was I pissed off. Woo! I'm telling you, nothing better than waking up on a Sunday and finding out you've been shadow banned and it baffled me, completely baffled me. And yet, as I said in that video, people can go ahead and they can throw their opinion out that is based on absolutely no fact whatsoever and be all kinds of icky, and they get signal boosted. That's the thing. The algorithm signal boosts them, which annoys the shit out of me, but what can I do? I'm kind of over it now. Collabs are hard for me, Superboy Prime, mainly because I'm extremely picky. And I did have the opportunity. There was one opportunity that came up, and I was going to go for it. And it kind of turned me off because, and I'm not going to name names, but essentially they wanted me to do all the work. And I was like, that's not cool. Yeah, this is my real voice, I swear. This is without any compression or, any... I don't really throw a filter on it. I really just compress it, add a little more treble to it. I don't add any bass, because then when I add bass, it gets way too heavy, echoey or something. Will I do an ElfQuest video? To answer your question, I have. I actually wrote a script like 2 years ago. I just haven't gotten around to it. So yes, there will be one. Oh man, someone copyright claimed one of your videos. I saw a video on somebody who had that problem happen to them. Someone copyright striked like 3 videos, and that shuts your channel right down. And ugh. I have a question. Have you had a haircut? I have. My hair is extremely short right now. I look like a low-rent Billy Idol right now. Let's see. I'm going to go back and see what I missed in chat here. Sorry about that. Best way to read all of the Macs? Best way, start at issue 1, work your way to issue 34 or 36, whatever it went up to. There. What about working with Uncle Jerk? You know what? He emailed me after hearing that I'd love to do a pass on his scripts to sort of get them tighter. And then I said, yeah, sure, this is what I'd like to, if you've got a script, send it my way. I'll see what I can do with it. And then I just haven't heard back from him. But, he's on a pretty irregular schedule, so that didn't really surprise me. I didn't take it as like an insult or anything like that. Or he changed his mind. I don't know. I haven't heard from him. But I haven't seen anything new from him in a while, so I think maybe he's sort of just disappeared. He's just busy. I mean, more that your voice sounds like someone changing their voice to sound more sophisticated. It's something that few video makers do, I know. Yeah, I don't. The only difference really is maybe I project a little. Like, I'll pull up a bit of a script here, and I'll read it like I would read it. Let's see. I was working on. There's been questions about how I do what I do, so I started writing a script about that. And let's see. Okay. I'll address the technical aspect first. It all comes down to 5 programs. Simple Comic. This is the reader I use for digital comics. As the name suggests, it's simple and streamlined, which is all I want from a reader. It allows me to pull pages from a comic so I can use them in a video or a screen or I screenshot what I need. Pages. Any word processor will do. Now I have to do take 2. Any word processor will do to write scripts. But this is the one I use because, again, it's basic and streamlined. So yeah, I do project a little bit more when I'm doing my narration. And and a lot of that is because my normal speaking voice, I'm not projecting so that you can hear how I'm emphasizing things. I don't do that. But otherwise, I don't really overly process it. Excuse me. I just see, and my voice changes when I clear my throat. You'll notice that in some videos, like my voice will suddenly change, and that's just because I've cleared my throat. It's not because it's a different take or anything. It's weird. Let's see. Yeah, Billy Idol, not Billie Eilish. Hey. Okay. A video on Paul Chadwick's Concrete. Maybe. I'd like to. Any more on the classic Doom Patrol? Again, I have 20 scripts written, but dude, they were killing my channel. Like, I want to do more, and I might pepper a few more in here and there. Like maybe this week I'll do a couple just to, clear my throat kind of thing. But literally, they were killing my channel. Anything under 8 minutes, and YouTube's like, yeah, you suck. We're not going to promote you. Do you believe in separating the art from the artist? Yes, Superboy Prime, I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be able to discuss Cerebus as much as I did. I think those are pretty good examples of me doing that exactly. Even though I put disclaimers in just about every one, but I still think you can. Who else? I had to do that for Planetary as well. A lot of people made good points about, 50% of that series is John Cassaday. And I had to agree with that assessment. And Laura Martin, yeah, sorry, she got married during that run, so her name changed. So yeah, that was another example of separating the art from the artist. And trying to be somewhat sympathetic to those that were victimized. So, and that's really why I made a post and got everyone's opinion. Let's see. What are your views on reading beyond an original creator's work, like Howard the Duck books or Watchmen stuff? I'd say as for disrespectful, I think it is towards Alan Moore and well, Dave Gibbons, I think, gave the thumbs up to Watchmen sequels. I can't remember. But it is disrespectful to Alan Moore because he's been living for years thinking, well, I'll get them back eventually. And then it was like, nope, screw you. You don't get them back. And DC always had that option. And I believe it was probably Paul Levitz who made sure that they didn't use the characters anywhere. And as soon as he stepped down, you notice all of a sudden there's a Watchmen movie, which was in development for years anyway, but then before Watchmen Project. Now, when it comes to something like Howard the Duck, that's a toughie because no one ever captured Gerber's voice. I don't know that it's necessarily disrespectful because Gerber knew what he was getting into when he created, characters for Marvel. No more, I wouldn't consider it any more disrespectful than anyone who followed him on Man-Thing or Son of Satan or Daredevil for that matter. So it's kind of situational as to whether it's disrespectful or not. I mean, if the creator feels disrespected, then yeah, certainly. Then I'm going to go with that. Just one sec. I'm going to grab some more water because I've already run out of it. Oh, and I should mention that that I was going to stream with Tristan from Nerdette's Newsstand, but my computer sucked. There was just no way I was trying to connect to her stream, and my computer was not having it. It was just no way. I even switched to my laptop, and it was just a nightmare. So if you're around, Tristan, I apologize. It really sucked. Believe me, I spent an hour and a half, 2 hours trying to get it to work. Wasn't going to happen. So, but I think I've got it set up now. It took me another hour or two to get my laptop so that it would do it, as opposed to the computer I'm using right now to stream this. Let's see. Who have I missed? Have I ever watched anime? Neon Genesis of I can't pronounce that. I have watched some, not a lot though. I was the first wave of anime and manga readers and watchers back in, circa 1990. And then I just kind of fell out of fashion with it. I don't know. I'm not really all that interested in it nowadays. Maybe I think I've just grown out of it. True, Alan Moore does use other people's characters. Put putting aside like Swamp Thing, let's a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen particularly, and Lost Girls, all of those are public domain, so they are. It's fine if he uses them. If he's going to complain, he does look like a bit of a hypocrite. I grant you that, but I do understand his point of view. I might not endorse it, but I understand it. Have you ever read Headlopper? No, I haven't read that yet. What about the prototype to Watchmen Who Killed Peacemaker? That sounds familiar, but I'm not entirely sure if I've read it. So I'm going to say no, I haven't. Sorry, I'm just scrolling, seeing what I've missed, what I haven't missed. Is the Watchmen show good? It is, if you look at it as an alternate version of Watchmen. It is a sequel, even though it says it isn't. It is. I don't know. Complex feelings about that. I have never met Dave Sim, although I've seen him in person, but I never spoke to him, by the way. He seemed very personable. He was very friendly with the people that were around him. So, I mean, I have no opinion on him as a person, really. I don't think there's any place to go attacking creators. I disagree with his point of view, 100%. But I'm not out to, make my reputation on calling out creators. Unless they call me out first, then, fair game. Would you ever consider talking about manga, at some point down the line? Yeah. I always feel like I have no no level of experience or authority to speak about manga. It just feels like it's not over my head, but I think there's some elements to it that are over my head. But I definitely want to get back to doing some more, mix some more in. Opinions on the YouTuber atop the fourth wall. I haven't watched anything recently, like years, but all I saw, he was part of the Thing Bad culture, I think. Like, he likes to rant. The very few videos I've seen, I want to put that into context. It seemed like all he wanted to do was rant and rave about comics, which is the antithesis of what I do. I criticize, but I don't rant and rave. I don't find there's any value in just sitting there and bashing something for 20 minutes. But hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing. And a lot of people are very successful at it. It's not really my bag, because I actually like comic books, and I like it as a medium. And I don't think there's there's value in criticizing it, sure. But sitting there and why not spend 20 minutes talking about something you like rather than something you disliked, unless there's a really good reason for discussing it? Because I've talked about stuff I didn't like Skate Man. But I think there was a justifiable reason, because of all the great things that Neil Adams has done. And then this thing, it also had an interesting history. So where did you see Dave Sim at? It was a signing at a comic book store in my local area in Canada. He was in Canada at a comic book store. I have not eaten any good books lately. Yeah, the grooming stuff, in which he was very open about too. So, eek. There's no doubt Dave Sim is very funny and intelligent. I will grant him that. You did a video on Frankenfran. Yes, I did. I want to do one on Claymore. I also did one on Chainsaw Man. Well, it's a short on Chainsaw Man. And I can't remember what else. Have you ever considered making retrospective videos for long-time comics? What can you be a little more specific? Like comics series that, like, say, the Fantastic Four, something that's been around for 40, 50 years. Is that what you mean by long time comics? I have. I've actually considered doing the Fantastic Four, by the way, which is why it popped into my brain. Berserk would be a good manga series, but it's been there. I've seen a video series that covers it to death, and I don't think I have anything to add to that conversation, which is another thing that that helps me decide whether I'm going to do something or not. Do I have anything to add to the conversation? If I don't, then generally speaking, I don't make a video on it. Have I read Luther Strode? Yes, I have. And in fact, I covered it at some point. I think it was a compilation video about Image Comics, and I'm pretty sure I covered it in there. Where's that screaming lady from your YouTube Where's that screaming lady from your YouTube shorts from? The screaming lady. That must have just been some freebie stock footage that I found. Where does the phrase "dark ideas" originally come from? It might have been Grant Morrison. It might have been Keith Giffen. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. If you had to say what's the worst comic you've ever read, right now the thing that pops to my brain is there are two. Wanted and Nemesis, both by my favorite, Mark Millar. I found Wanted just insulted the audience, and Nemesis is just hilariously, like, it's so bad. I can't even believe that anybody read it. Like, yeah, Atop the Fourth Wall was part of Channel Awesome, and that was sort of their brand, the Thing Bad brand. So I really should perhaps, maybe watch one or two of his more recent things. I haven't. I really haven't. And I don't want to speak ill of someone whose current work I haven't seen. No, I will never probably review Kick-Ass. It's pretty terrible. It's also Kick-Ass also insults comic book fans. Maybe it's just, and see, this is the thing. This is the problem I have with Mark Millar, is I am predisposed to see all his flaws, and I don't think that makes there may be some minor amusement you can get out of listening to me talk about how bad he is for like 20 minutes, and maybe I will at some point. But yeah, Kick-Ass is a comic that just hates comic book fans. If you read it through a particular lens, like my lens, all he's saying is that comic book nerds suck and they're stupid, and it's ugh. Dark Ideas comes from Rock of Ages. Trust Mickey. That was my instinct, that it was Grant Morrison who came up with it. But I thought, oh, did it happen earlier in Legion of Superheroes? But I'm going to trust Mickey on that one. Avengers 200 is very problematic, and I started writing a video on that, and I probably should finish it at some point. Because, yeah, wow. It's a comic that everyone involved with it has stepped away from and said, we don't know. No, I'm not taking credit for that. Are you open to do more Paul-esque videos where you review as you read it, a more modern comic? Yeah, I'm open to suggestions. Like what? Like maybe I'll post that as a community post and see what you'd suggest for something pretty recent that you'd like me to see do. What's the difference between lean and decompressed storytelling? I can give you my layman's version. Lean is just when it's bare bones. Um, I think of it as like it's just dialogue, and decompressed is more like taking action moments and spreading them out. Just so, like, if you look at, say, any comic from the 60s or 70s, fights they're very dynamic and fast, whereas nowadays they'll be panel like a decompressed fight scene will have like no dialogue or even sound effects, and that really gives it's really the artist carrying the weight of that issue. So I think that's the difference. Lean writing is more like there's not a lot. I hate to put it, there's less words, but it's very much like a movie script where it's just dialogue, more just dialogue. That would be very lean writing. Whereas decompressed is stretching out action sequences, maybe even. You see it with Bendis. He tends to make conversations last longer because they have specific beats. He does that David Mamet thing in his writing. So that makes conversations seem longer, even though they're going by very, very fast. That would be, I would say, like decompressed rather than lean. It's letting a moment breathe, I guess. But it's more action oriented. What new books am I reading? I don't really read like any new titles, really. I mean, I do, but a lot of my reading time is going into, making videos and stuff. So I have piles of stuff that I have to get to. So yeah, that's why I'm usually not current, because it takes so long for me to, if I'm going to do, let's say, The Authority or The Planetary, I sit down and read everything before I might make, some notes before I read the whole thing, but then I read the whole thing. Okay. Thoughts on Judge Dredd? I don't know enough about Judge Dredd. I like him. Like every now and then I'll pick up some compilation and read it. He's amusing. It depends on who it is, who's writing him. But a lot of good writers have come on it. Thoughts on Black Sad? Definitely have to cover it. That's when I do a video about the best of the 2000s to 2009. Black Sad is part of that. Immortal Hulk? I'm struggling with the ending. I didn't really care for the beginning, and then it picked up pretty quickly after that, and I thought it was pretty great. And the ending I'm still struggling to finish, actually. I've not done a video on The Crow. No. I might, but it seems like everybody's done one. I'm not, like I said, do I have anything to add? Probably not. Thoughts on Martin Scorsese? Favorite film by him? Probably, maybe Taxi Driver is probably his best. Although Raging Bull was also pretty damn good. He's still kicking it. He still crushes it. I'll see any movie he does. So yeah, I'll see Killers of the Flower Moon. Any superhero book that is a deconstruction but goes in another direction and answers more of a Marxist as opposed to fascist. that one I got to sit with. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. A video dedicated to Squadron Supreme, maybe because it did come around the same time as Watchmen. It's very much in the same vein. I'm not sure. I have to go back and read it. It's been many, many years since I read it. So I have to reread it and see if there's something there that I can talk about. Have I seen Cartoonist Kayfabe? Yes, I've seen them. I haven't watched many videos from theirs lately because both they work in the same space as I do, and I don't want to accidentally, see something that I might have coming up. For Avengers 200, Julia, I would kind of do it as a history lesson. Well, not history lesson, like I'm teaching something. Like, what I mean is like how it came to be, and it's the reaction to it. So, because I think I'm not sure a review is necessary. It's pretty terrible. Thank you, The Merciless. Could I ask your thoughts on Grant Morrison Batman run where Damian is introduced into DC? I thought it was pretty solid. I don't have any I don't have a hot take on it. I liked it. He tried pretty hard and he did pretty good. I'd have to reread it though. I just remember I thought Damian was a bit unnecessary, but he grew on me. So, kudos to him. He took a character I wasn't really all that invested in and made him interesting. So I'll grant him that. Good for you, Grant. Any regrets getting into this racket? I don't know that I really regret, because I even though I look at like stuff from the first 2 or 3 years and they make me cringe, that's only because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was still figuring it out. But I'm not really embarrassed by the content, so I don't regret it, is what I'm saying. Even though I think they look terrible in my eyes and they're kind of embarrassing, I don't regret them existing. Any long nights of the soul in that regard? No, not really. I mean, it would be greatly satisfying if there was many more viewers and subscribers and all that stuff. I can't, even though that gets me down from time to time, I can't create content, as they say, with only that in mind. Like if I was out for, if I wanted to be highly successful, all I need to do is pivot my channel and start talking about how bad comics are and make some random, I don't know, wild speculations on things that are not based in fact whatsoever. And boop, the next thing I know, I've got 100,000 followers and I just sit there and rant and rave about how much comics suck. And I mean, like I said, if I pivoted and did that, sure, but that's not the channel I want. I know this is egotistical. I know there's an audience for what I do. I know it because I can see that there's a bunch of you sitting here right now, and most of you are very, very supportive. I know some of you spite view me, and that's fair. I can't please everyone. But regrets, no, because I mean I can stop at any time I want. You know what I mean? Like no one's forcing me to do this. I do this out of a certain level of passion. It doesn't feed my ego or anything like that. Even though I get, quite a few compliments and stuff, but I also get some hate too. So, I mean, it all balances out in the end. And again, like I said, this doesn't stroke my ego, and it's not a source of income that is reliable. It would be much more reliable, of course, naturally, if I had more views and all that jazz. But that doesn't seem to be. I have to be comfortable with the fact that that may never happen. And as long as I keep that in mind, I have no regrets. Excuse me. I know my voice sounded very funny there when I said that. Doing videos on comic strips, nope. Just like webcomics, I will probably never do a video on that. I'm sticking with one medium and not sort of expanding. Although, every now and then I dip into other mediums. I grant you that, but... Would the original Battle Angel manga be an option? I haven't read it, so I couldn't tell you. Why would anyone spite you of all people? I can only speculate. You'd have to ask them. But it's probably because I don't make my politics part of my video. And in fact, I can say, generally speaking, not a lot of personality in my videos. And I think some people want me to take a firm stand, and I think they want me to be on their side, and I don't do that. I'm not very politically motivated. I'm actually apolitical. So, how do I put it? And I can see people disagreeing with some of my takes. That is fair enough. Like, especially when it comes to interpreting elements and stuff, there's always going to be someone who's going to disagree with you. And again, that's fair enough. But disagreeing with facts or saying I have a particular take on facts, I don't think that's generally true. I think the thing is I don't cherry pick the information. There's plenty of scripts I've written where I've had a particular point of view, I guess you could say, and then the facts said, nope, that's wrong. So I've had to do a lot of rewriting. And it happens all the time. I mean, I'm as opinionated as any human being, but I try not to delve into things unless they're obvious. Yeah, thank you, DJ Convoy. Even-handed is what I try to do. I try to be somewhat objective. I'm not sure that term applies because I still do have opinions and they bleed in, but at least I'm honest about them and my biases. I don't know if that really necessarily makes me better. It doesn't, in my opinion. It's just how I approach my material. Thank you, Doman Gomez? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. My apologies if I'm not. You think legacy characters will be satirized next? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by that. Satirized by whom? I mean, any character's open to be satirized. And thank you, Derek R., for the 2. I don't know why your message was retracted. It might have been something YouTube did automatically. I'm not censoring anybody. Opinion on the YouTuber comic tropes. I should watch. You know what? Maybe next time I live stream, I'll watch a bunch of more popular YouTubers so I can have an opinion. He seems nice. He seems like a good guy. From what I've seen, he seems to know what he's talking about. So I'd give him a thumbs up. I really can't think of anyone I necessarily bash publicly. Privately, I have different opinions, but I don't think I'm not going to sit here on a live stream and call out people. That doesn't make sense to me. That seems very cowardly. If we were in a conversation again or together, then I could see calling someone out. but I'm not going to do that without them here. It's just my voice, and that seems very one-sided and echo chambery. And that's really not my thing. Oh, thank you, Scott, or A. Scott Sampson. I'm a retailer, and I recently posted about your channel as a great resources for finding great new series to check out from the history of comics. Thank you. Hashtag stay mad or do something about it. I do something about it. I continue on. Despite the roadblocks and challenges that I face, many of which you guys know nothing about. Because I don't make it your business. It's my business. And it's not that I'm protecting you from anything. It's just, why would you care? But anyways, yes, I continue on despite the challenges that present themselves. And that's the best way to do something about it, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't insert my political views. They may be there as subtext, but I don't really think so. I'm pretty sure I edit that crap out. Oh, I am definitely a Decepticon. Definitely. I'm not an Autobot. No. What's the number? What's it going to take to get that Housewives video? Oh my God. Well, it depends. Okay. How long do you want it to be? Do I have to watch all the Housewives or a specific Housewives series? Are you going to pay for me to buy a digital version of it? And then think of a big number, and that's what it would take. And yeah, and I'm going to repeat what DJ Convoy just said. I can only really think of one video of yours where I've really had a gripe, and of course, reasonable people can disagree. 100%. Like I said, I'm not an authority on anything. And if you disagree with me, fair enough. And if you put it in the comments, and I see it, because a lot of times I don't see it, I'll respond as long as you're being reasonable. When you start being unreasonable, I'm really not gonna. Why am I gonna sit there and fight with you online? Okay, if not Housewives, then how about Daniel Close? Yes, okay, definitely. But yeah, if you disagree with me, fair enough. I'm open to that. I don't want an echo chamber. I'm not interested in having an echo chamber. And even if you're someone like, especially when it is names that I recognize that are longtime viewers, and they'll say like, you were off on this one, man. I take that and I use it to improve. I'm not going to sit there and be all defensive. Sometimes I'm defensive, but usually not publicly. Again, I take everything you guys tell me as feedback. Where I'm like, some people want the best for me, and so I take what they say as good criticism that I can incorporate. And I've had a fair amount, which I have used. Like swearing is a big one. I remember it was like 4 years back. Someone said, "Do you have to swear so much in your videos?" And I thought, no, I really don't. So I have not sworn since, other than maybe the occasional damn. And even now, on a live stream, I'm not. Let me take some water. Even now on a live stream, I'm watching my language. In real life, as they say, I'm less restrained. I have no idea where I was going with that. I just realized I lost the plot of whatever I was answering. Will I do a video on Bone? Probably. Oh, yeah. Phoenix Jones. That is a crazy story. Yeah, here for the comics, not the drama. Exactly. And Derek R, I agree with you too. I do have a slightly pessimistic view of modern comics, and I think that comes out every now and again because, and it definitely came out in the most recent Paul one, where I basically call Marvel out for killing off Kamala Khan just so they can resurrect her before the movie. Um, that's where I get cynical when I see the marketing ploys and stuff like that. Yeah, you know what? Sebastian, I really should do something for Pride Month. You're right. You're absolutely right. Um, I'm going to make a note of that. As you can hear me taking out my notepad. Because that's a very good idea. I thought of it actually yesterday and didn't write it down. So now that you've mentioned it, I'm writing it down. Done. Without naming names, what is the other channels do that I dislike? Like, I mean, how can I talk about channels that I dislike without naming names? I mean, that's not possible. For the love of comics, yeah, I've never seen any of their stuff. Thank you, Darth Reggie, for that $1.10. Yeah, comic tropes. From what I've seen, he does seem more even-handed. But I've never even had a conversation with him ever. Comics Tube doesn't reach out to me. I'm all alone, mostly. Yeah, cartoonist kayfabe. They work blue. Like I said, I made the decision not to work blue. If not Housewives, then Daniel Close. I already got that. Would you ever do a history on colorists or a history on how it's changed? Um, Boy, that's a difficult one. That's a good question, though. It's something I should consider because it has definitely changed. I mean, I saw it change in my lifetime. So yeah, that's another idea I'm gonna plop down. A video for Brandon Graham's Prophet. Yes, definitely, and Glory too. I think I'm gonna do. Strangers in Paradise is a good suggestion for Pride Month. Anyone else got any good suggestions? Yeah, yeah. I guess I've already got an Enigma video, so I guess I could throw that up and say, "Hey, Happy Pride." But that's cheapening out. Thank you, Marty Rocks. I'm as a spider ambivalent person to another. Thank you. But it was really interesting, and as I said at the top of that video, I didn't go in with an opinion one way or another. I really wanted to see is this really that terrible? And I don't know, I don't know. I didn't. I mean, is it something that I would pick up ordinarily? No. But was it as terrible as everyone was making it out to be? No, definitely not. Yeah, I do think my delivery is dry, Philip, and straightforward, and my scripts are very much to the point. Um, if you guys ever saw the hatchet job I do to my scripts, just to make sure that they are concise, you would like I cut out a full script out of my scripts. That's how much I chop them up. I try to throw your hat in the ring whenever a YouTuber mentions people to collab with. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm open to them, but I want it to be a collaboration, not me doing all the work, and them getting half the credit. Sorry, that's just not going to happen. And I am very, I can be slow at times, so, but I'm definitely open to it. Are you going to appear on the Big Invisible series on the channel you plugged recently? They did ask me, but it seemed like they had other people that were even more knowledgeable than myself. And it also meant that I had to go back and reread it because that stuff falls out of my head so that I can do the next video. Not, I probably should have taken them up on that, but I don't think. I don't know. I feel kind of bad that I didn't take them up on that. Howard Cruz, that's a good one, yeah. His Barefoots, and of course his really popular one, the title of which falls out of my brain just as I'm trying to think of it. My voice is so relaxing that sometimes I use your playlists to help me sleep. Well, I have conflicted feelings about that. I would hope you'd stay awake, that my voice would be so powerful you'd have to listen to it. I continually joke about I should do ASMR videos, and I never have, but I probably should. Yes, Kiss, keep it simple, stupid. I'm a ruthless editor with my stuff. If I feel like I'm babbling, even when I'm editing the video, after I've even done the vocals and cut that all together, I still cut pieces out. I'm never done until it's uploaded. Oh yeah, Fun Home. Fun Home's a very good, yes. Another video on, Midnighter and Apollo from Authority. Yep, possibly. These are all good suggestions. Thank you. And Saga. Yeah. Side comics that are made from video games. It's something to consider, but generally speaking, I don't really go out of my way to read them. It's kind of like, when there's comic books based on TV shows, my interest drops like dramatically. But that doesn't mean that they're terrible. It just means I just never give them a chance. Director's cut edits for my scripts. Yeah, maybe. But that, I'd have to figure out how I do that. I know I've been asked a few times recently about how I go about making a video, both I think like creatively and how I do it technically, like what, the programs I use and stuff. And I'm not sure I'm very good at doing a tutorial on how to use like Final Cut. Stuck Rubber Baby. I just saw it in chat. Stuck Rubber Baby. That's the Howard Cruz one I was thinking of. But how would I do a members only cut? Because I cut it just gets junked. Like, But can you get a job as a local radio host? Probably not. I stumble too much. Like, you can hear it in my voice now. Like, it's completely different than in my narration because I'm not trying to project, and I just don't. I stutter too much. I should be a voice actor. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Let's get to these. Thank you very much, The Merciless. What did you think of the Black Cat and Spider-Man relationship that has happened in the Paul Saga currently in Spider-Man? Honestly, I think Black Cat and Spider-Man are a good mix. I mean, it does have a very Batman, Catwoman vibe because, they're on... One is all good and the other is sometimes good when it suits her. I kind of like Felicia Hardy. I've always kind of had a thing for her, so maybe that colors my opinion. And Magic K, thank you very much. Since you've already covered Authority and Planetary, will you cover Transmetropolitan one day? If I could show you my screen, you would see my Transmetropolitan script right there. So yes, I'm not sure it would be next week. I imagine it would be within the next couple weeks. So yes, you'll see my take on it. I don't think it's, to give you a preview, I don't think it's aged well, and it's very much of its time. There's a lot of language that would not make it nowadays. And yeah, it was good for the time. I'm not sure it's so good anymore. Does DC put out annual Pride comics? I never knew that. I have to admit, never knew that. Those are transmedia comics. They are great for expanding a world, but not so interesting if you're not into the original property. Okay, all right. Oh, yeah, the Injustice. I almost did a video about the Injustice comic books, but I can't remember why. I think it was still in the middle of one of the series, and I just didn't get back to it. Yeah, R.I.P. Mr. Conroy. You had the voice, man. You were definitely the Batman voice. Yeah, Stephen King's still... Well, actually, I think I haven't read anything recent. The most recent I read was probably the end of The Black Tower. But yeah, he gets pretty verbose, but nothing in comparison to, say, like The Stand, which is really super verbose. But I'm nowhere like Stephen King. Thank you, Red Rocketeer. Thank you for watching. And thank you for everyone for being here. I'm just going to pop out for just 1 minute because this water's going through me. So I need a break for just like 1 minute. I'll be right back. You all play nice, and I'll be right back. Sorry about that. But I'm such an advanced AI that even I have to go to the bathroom. That's how advanced I am for an AI. Not bad, right? Now, where was I? No fights. Yeah, of course I just muted the mic. That's all. And then walked away. And screamed at my neighbors. No, I didn't. Oh, throw hearts in the chat for me. So you guys fine with the fact that I don't have a webcam? Because I can probably stream more without a webcam. Webcam is such a hassle. because I'm so particular about angles. My thoughts about Final Crisis? I think Grant Morrison packed a lot more into it than people think. And I think that's what makes it confusing, because it's so dense. And I think you kind of need a lot of almost research into it. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's his best thing, though. Big fan of martial law. Have I read Mills and O'Neill's Nemesis? Yes, I have. I read part of it. I'm afraid the other comic guy, you're not in charge now. Sorry. I'm the guy with the microphone, so I'm still in charge. Sorry. What if the Flaming Carrot video? To be determined. Reading that comic breaks my head. So it's something that takes time. Takes time. Because I do kind of like miss interacting with you guys. You know, even though it's just me and it's very parasocial and I'm just talking at you, I'd like to think that I'm kind of talking with you. Yeah, your voice is what it's all about. Yeah, webcam reveal 50K subscribers. And don't pay attention to any other video that I might have which has my actual face on it. But yeah, that's what I'll do. 50K subscribers, and I'll do a full. Let's say 50K subscribers by the end of June, the end of this month. 50K. I'll do a 1 hour live stream that's full on webcam stuff. How about that? That a deal? Of course, you know, that's all on me. I've got to pump out the material that 50K people want to see. How did I develop into such a good writer? Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I've just been writing all my life. It's not like I've ever taken a course, or I really think I'm particularly all that good. I just think I know when I get bored, that the audience is bored. That's really my metric. And when I do something like a history video or something like that, I don't, and I mentioned this earlier, I don't cherry pick the facts. I go with what's out there and I make of it what I will or what I can. I don't try to fit it into a specific narrative, even though I would say all my videos have a narrative thread, but I don't try to force the facts into that narrative thread, because then my narrative thread is wrong and the facts are meaningless. And I hate to say it, but they actually mean something to me. The comic that got me into comics. Well, I can't remember if it was FF 188 or 189 or 190. I want to say it was FF, Fantastic Four 190. I've answered that a million times. I should go back. In fact, I'm going to write that down too. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go through that issue. FF 190. I'm going to go through that issue and try to figure out what it was that made me go, I love this. I love this. But mind you, I was just an avid reader. I read hundreds of comics before that, but that was the one that hooked me. Thank you, Mycroft Strange. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Thank you, TJ Rip. I think I've improved a lot lately too. I feel much more confident in my editing, and I can work a lot faster, which is good, which I need to, because I wake up at 3 a.m. And this is no joke. Here's some insider stuff. I get up at 3 or 4 a.m. so I can do the narration for my videos. That way it's, because I live in an apartment, obviously. And that way there's no street noise, there's no neighbor's noise. And it's the only time of day when I can say, like, I'm not going to be interrupted or anything like that. So yeah, I have to get up really early to do my voiceover stuff. So if I sound sleepy, then that's why. I have heard of metabarons. I mentioned that earlier, actually. I'd like to do a video on it. Face reveal would actually be great for gaming engagement. Yeah, I'm on a Mac, so gaming is something I just don't do on this. And I consider myself a retired gamer. I gamed like mad through the 80s and 90s. Have I ever reached out to any comic book pros for an interview? No, I haven't. I don't think that would be my forte. I might be wrong. I should maybe give it a try someday and see if anybody want to talk to me. I've thought about, there's a few people on Twitter. I covered their book. Oh my God, I'm so terrible with names at the moment. Anyways, let's just say there's a couple that I wouldn't mind having a conversation with. But I've never asked anyone. I just presume they turn me down anyway. It'd be like, who are you? I've never even heard of you. Thank you, John Dorsey, for the 5. A rare chance to show appreciation to an exceptional comic book YouTuber who keeps getting better. Huge fans. Thank you very much. I appreciate that greatly. The words themselves, I do see all those comments, and I do appreciate them. Like I said, I'd like to believe that I'm fostering people who want to see this kind of content more than those that just hate what I do. Yeah, beyond the narrative you're presenting, you don't twist the facts to push an agenda. Exactly, that's exactly it. I can't think of examples. But there's definitely been, I think in Warlock, there was a point in Warlock where I had a particular opinion on something and the facts did not support it. So I know it's not in the video. More European comics, yes, absolutely. Definitely have to do more. Perhaps your first Fantastic Four book could also be a 50K milestone? Perhaps. Yes, Dawn, I get up at 3 or 4 a.m. to do voiceover work. Well, for my channel, I'm not a professional voiceover artist. But yeah, I have to, so that there's no background noise. Why not go old school and record in your closet? My closet is right next to my neighbor's closet, which is in their bedroom. So I tried that a few times, and they can hear me. And that's kind of awkward. So out of respect for them, I do it in my living room instead, which I know doesn't bother anyone because they can't hear me. Yeah, 40 years of reading. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Nicopole trilogy. Yes, I'd like to do that as well. Yeah, Ken Stacy is Canadian, but I think he lives in another Canadian city. And because I'm AI generated, I have to get my creators to work up a good face for me. I'm not entirely sure I'm happy with the one they've given me, so maybe then I can do a face reveal. Yeah, believe it or not, John, there are people who dislike what I do. I know it seems baffling because I'm very not controversial. At least I don't think I am. But others disagree, and that's fair enough. That's okay. I've been on the internet long enough to know that it doesn't matter what you say. There's going to be someone who disagrees with you. I'm sorry, TJ Rip. Holy Terror would be an example of what for you, if you don't mind elaborating? Of like a video of mine you completely disagreed with? Is that what you mean? And fair enough if you did. And maybe tag me so that I can see your response, if you're still there. Favorite bands? Oh yeah, I'm huge into New Wave. Yeah, you got me pegged there. Is the Patti Smythe and the Toto Coelho, using their videos in my videos? That kind of gave it away, right? It's Pride Month. Don't hide it in the closet. I promise you, I won't record any Pride videos in the closet. Is Kieran Gillen? He's I'm guessing he must be gay. I knew James Tinian and Phil Jimenez was. And Grant Morrison is gender queer, if I'm not mistaken. Not that it matters. As a very leftist political person, I actually love the way you tackle sensitive topics like Dave Sim. You didn't throw out his work just because he's extremely problematic, but you also addressed it. Yeah, that's kind of what I... Oh, thank you. I'll just take... Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. Yeah, Hodorowski, his comics are... Woo! Like I said, they're an investment in time because there's a lot of symbolism that I just don't get. Like, that's just not my... not within my wheelhouse. But yeah, I definitely want to do more Hodorowski. Does Chester Brown live around where you live? No, he does not. Unfortunately, I'd chat with Chester any day. Joe, does your clothesline get tangled up with your neighbors too? No, I live in an apartment. I don't have a clothesline. Yeah, he does. I don't know exactly if he's. I watched. Okay, when it comes to Grant Morrison, there was an interview with him in September of 2022, where he seemed very nonplussed about the they them non-binary label. He seemed to be happy with. Like he seemed to more identify with, like I said, the gender queer, but I'm good with saying non-binary too. I don't care. I really don't care. But yeah, because a lot of people were saying, like it's he him, not they them, and I went and I searched everything I could, and the most recent thing is he's just kind of ambivalent. He's fine with they them. So out of respect for those that do identify as non-binary, I continue to call them they. I just said it. I continue to reference Morrison as they, them, as opposed to he, him. Because I know he's an icon for many non-binary people. And I'm not going to shit on those people. Thank you, John Dorsey. Favorite fellow YouTubers in the same kind of space as you? As in consider deep dive, heart of the definitely Uncle Jerk does deep dive stuff. Who else? Of course, Comic Tropes. Maybe not as deep as me, and same with Matt Draper, I think. But I think Matt hasn't done much comic book stuff lately. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. That's the only couple that popped into my head. I do want to read Cerebus. Your videos made me want to read them. But knowing his views and what he did, I feel hesitant supporting him. Here's the great thing about, and it's nothing I've mentioned in my videos and I've been meaning to. You can, with Dave Sim's permission, and you can go to downloadcerebus.com to confirm this. You can go and you can find Cerebus digitally if you like and read it for free. And Dave Sim is fine with that. So if you're interested in reading it and not supporting him monetarily, perfectly understandable. You can read it for free. I'm not going to tell you where to find it, but it's pretty easy to find. And I would say stop at issue 200. I know you're going to want to go 201 to 300 because you're 2/3 of the way there. Trust me, you don't want to go past 200. Why is there no video about Sandman? I'm going to get around to it. Everyone's done Sandman. And I'm more interested in the phenomenon. Like, I can't remember. I made a list of all the Sandman related titles that spun out of him. And I think I was at somewhere in the area of 50 or 60. That's just from my memory. Don't quote me on that. But it is a lot of titles. Like, if you want to talk about a title that propped up Vertigo for many years, it's definitely Sandman. Thank you, Mycroft Strange. Again, would you consider doing a full video on Alan Moore's League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? Yes, I have to reread it though, because I don't remember the ending. But I don't think I was very happy with it. But Owen likes comics. Yes, I'll give a shout out to Owen likes comics too. Yeah. I would say yes, DJ. Check out Uncle Jerk as well. I know he did a very long series on Kirby that I've wanted to watch, but I haven't because I know there's other Kirby stuff I want to do, and I don't want to be influenced. So, and I think he did another huge one on the Max. Oh, okay. The video I learned was the Morrison versus Alan Moore vid. In that I tried to be very even-handed, and I think you missed the fact that Grant was the aggressor 95% of the time. I agree with you, but I think that was pretty obvious, because at the very beginning, I'm scrolling all the times that Grant Morrison has mentioned Alan Moore. Now, I didn't think it was necessary to bang that drum harder than I already did. And that would seem like I was taking sides when I was just trying to investigate, I guess you could say, whether there was something to this. But if that bothered you, that's fair. Sims for principled enough to condone piracy. Yeah, he just wants people to read his comic book. In fact, I recall in Cerebus, he said if you want to do a Cerebus comic while I'm doing Cerebus or any time thereafter, go right ahead. You just have to add my copyright to it. So he's always been good in that respect. I have read Shade the Changing Man. There'll be something forthcoming. I always get asked about that. It's surprising how many people ask about Shade the Changing Man. It's kind of like the Max. I never thought anyone would care about the Max. And that blew up. So I'm just surprised that there's so much support for Shade the Changing Man. Creating a Discord server? Yes. I was actually going to add that as an incentive to get people to become members. I was thinking, like, if I hit like 100 members, I would open a Discord server. I just haven't worked out the details yet. I spend way too much time making videos instead of trying to make them make money. Yeah, Fool Killer by Steve Gerber is definitely going to come up. Same with Hard Time. I'd like to just do a straightforward Gerber retrospective, and that's been long in the making. Yeah, I agree with Don. Cerebus is a pretty great comic, and but only until 200. And I think the final Mothers and Daughters arc is pretty flawed, but it's still pretty damn good. My Jaka story one is you're going to think I just love the guy once I finally finish that one off. And that's basically giving the devil his due. That is definitely separating the art from the artist. I want to clarify, when complimenting your saves, or Dave, I suppose that's supposed to be Dave Sim vids. I brought in my politics to say I found it refreshing you didn't bring in politics to your analysis. I did not. Other than, there's one specific video I did say I disagree with him, but that was, I think, the first video, and it needed to be said. In case anybody thought I was endorsing it, I was not. But otherwise, no, I look at the work. Of course, the work does include, at a certain point, he inserts himself. And at that point, I'm going to just drop out of the series. Would you ever interview Dave? I would never sign his petition. So no, I would never interview Dave. I'm not going to sign something in order to speak to someone. That seems ridiculous. Yeah, when it comes to Cerebus, skip over all the text reads parts, and just read just skip all the text reads parts, because you're not missing anything other than context for why Dave Sim doesn't have a career. Dave Sim has said on his death that all his work becomes public domain, but there are legal issues around that. The last I read, he can't actually do that. I don't know why, but I know that's something he said. And I read that when I was researching Cerebus a few years ago. So it can't go public domain, despite his wishes. I think to answer your question, Crow-Eye, I think most of the Wildstorm books, the ones that are in that 2014 era, I want to say, when they went full adult, I thought most of those were really good. Like Stormwatch, I think Authority was definitely in that time, but I think that was who was that? But let's just say that specific era, when they changed over to being more adult, was pretty darn good. I have checked out Casually Comics. I don't really have an opinion. She seems very nice. Other than that, I don't have much of an opinion. She seems very nice and positive. The Max is one I'd love to redo, but I'm not going to. Just redo it just so it has better vocals. Same with the Invisibles. I'd love to redo that, but I'm not going to. Those two I can't touch, just because they're of their time. My favorite films, I'm going to go with Harvey, Sunset Boulevard, Network. Those three always pop in my brain first thing. Upstream Color. A lot of stuff you've probably never heard of. Have you read anything of the recent Doom Patrol? No, I have not. uh, a panel breakdown on Bernie Creek's. Yeah, that was already done by Matt with 4Ts, I think. I'm not sure if that's his channel name or just his username. And it got like a billion views, so I don't think I need to cover that. I think he's got it covered. Yeah, the Phantom Zone miniseries I actually have a script written for that, but I'm gonna just fold it into a Gerber retrospective. I think Sim wants his work to be spread so that, yeah, his ideology is more common, but also because he just wants his work preserved. I mean, the dude spent 24 years on one piece of work. You're going to want that to stick around. If I had the opportunity to write an issue of any mainstream superhero, who would you choose? Well, probably Shade, because that's just on my mind right now. But that's not really a mainstream superhero, really. Spider-Man, just to make him terrible. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It never crosses my mind to write titles for Marvel and DC. They don't pay me to do that, so I don't. Why doesn't anyone mention Gerhard? I do. He's awesome. He has his own website, and you can get commissions from him. So look him up. I know I missed one. I can't remember. Yeah, I agree, Sebastian. If it's your work and you want it to be public domain upon your death, it should be allowed. But I honestly don't know anything other than that's what Mr. Sim said. I don't know anything other than that. And why would I doubt him? Did you read all of Steve Ditko's Mr. A essays? I believe I read most of them. All I could find. I don't know. I wouldn't say for certain that I read every single one, but I read a good portion of them, yes. Yeah, there's also a Cerebus radio show, which is, has Matt with 4Ts been active on YouTube before? That Bernie Kriegstein video was his first one. So good for him. He hit it hard on his first video. But maybe he had a previous channel. I don't know. I don't know him at all, so I couldn't respond for him. But yeah, it does seem pretty strange that he got over 1 million views on one video. But good for him. I really wish I knew how to do that. Another public domain for Cerebus. No one can make their works public domain. PD is a status that occurs after a set number of years. Okay. Or you have the copyright lapsed, yeah. Yeah, The Strange Death of Alex Raymond, I have. I'm one of the couple thousand people who've tried to get through it. I've never made it through. It is very oblique. Oh yeah, 12 Angry Men. Yes, absolutely. A great movie. We're going to change it from Cerebus chat now. I think people are just generally interested in it interested in Dave Sim because there's not a lot out there about him, even though there's a lot out there about him. And I think maybe it's because I'm one of the very few people who discuss his work. Maybe that's why it keeps coming up. It always comes up whenever I live stream. I have read all of Powers by Bendis and Avon Oming. I did enjoy the movie Primer. And I'm like you. It took me, I had to watch it 2 or 3 times before I was sure I understood it. But it's good. Unfortunately, that filmmaker is problematic. It's unfortunate. What was up with Quesada going out of his way to make Spider-Man so miserable during his days as head of Marvel frat house? He had an opinion on the character that he should not be married, and he stuck with it. I mean, he also, had various other opinions that I'm sure we just don't know about. That was the most obvious one. Scout, maybe a good one. I don't have all of Scout though. Do I have a background in graphic design or editing? Yes. But I'm mostly self-taught. Actually, I'm entirely self-taught. But I do have a background in it. You're the first person to ever ask me that. And I thought it would come up before now. Yeah, I've watched Cool Hand Luke. It was okay. He was cool. He had a hand. John Dorsey, thank you for the 5. What current creators do you like, and why aren't they Andrea Sorrentino's fantastic Batman work recently? I love Andrea Sorrentino's work. I mean, he did I, Vampire, if I'm not mistaken, and he did that series with Jeff Lemire that I've been meaning to do another video about, which was really cool, and I can't remember its title. But I'll look at his Batman work. Like I said, a lot of mainstream stuff is just off my radar. And just for the aforementioned reason of I'm busy reading stuff for the videos I'm currently doing. I did read Nice House on the Lake, and I got to the end before Tinian did. I thought it was a nice concept. It's definitely a good TV pitch. The Department of Truth, I have to go back and give it another try. I kind of got bored after about issue 8 or so, but I think it might have been just me. That's not necessarily a comment on his writing. It might have been I just wasn't into it at the time. got Shane Carruth and Dave Sim mentioned. Yeah. This is a controversial channel. I'm going to discuss all the controversy. All right, folks. How long have I been doing this? Probably quite some time. Should I promise to do this more often? What do you think? I think that's where I was heading when I asked about no webcam. Yeah, I already mentioned that. That I could probably do this more often as long as there's no webcam. It's easier for me. Everybody good with that? I should probably wrap it up because I think it's been about 2 hours now, if I'm not mistaken. Checks the time. It has definitely been 2 hours. And that's more than enough. You don't need to hear me talk for 2 hours. I want to thank everyone for donations. They're greatly appreciated. Trust me. I love them. I need them. I'll take all of them. More importantly, just watch my stuff. Watch my stuff through to the end. That helps me a lot too. And commenting. That always helps my stuff. And I appreciate everyone who does that. Thank you very much. All my thanks at the end are very genuine. Oh, thank you, Oh man, I'm going to have a tough time with that. Vuato Pneumatico. Wow, thank you for the 5. I have read Alex Coates' comics. He's extremely pretentious, and he thinks he's pretty smart. And his work is pretty good. I will grant him that. And I have a pile of his stuff, and maybe I will You can hear me getting my notepad and you can hear my pen click. I will put that down. So there, I've officially added it to my list. Because his work is interesting, but he really likes himself. That's the only thing. Kozin, thank you for 20. You got one in under the just before I got out. No, answer me. What have I read? Yes, I have read his comics. I've read the titles are not in my brain, but I've read 2 or 3 of his titles. I don't hate him, don't love him. I don't like his attitude, but I think his work is definitely worth a look. So like I said, I wrote it down. If not Housewives, then how about Daniel Close? I think we already made a deal, Mr. Shaw. More of these chats, okay. I'll try. I'm going to try. I'll do it. I won't make any promises, but I'm going to try really, really hard. So thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you everyone who donated. Again, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And it's just good to have you around. And I really do need to connect with you a lot more often than I do. And disprove this whole AI thing. Or prove it. I mean, you can't see my face. You don't know. Perhaps I was digitized. Cool. Thank you, everyone. I will definitely do more. Because you're all very, very cool. You're much cooler than me, that's for sure. I always think I have nothing to say. Who wants to hear me talk? And then you guys just throw out questions left and right. I appreciate that so much. Thank you very much. And you all take care. And I'm going to end it this time. Yeah, I'm Chat GPT 7.0. I'm very advanced. Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me drinking my water? Here, I'll do it now. Sorry, I keep forgetting to mute my mic before I do that. And I'm going to end this properly. Exactly that's it. Until next time. Take care, everyone. You have a great night. Have a great weekend. And talk at you soon.